Hi again, I'm Glenn Williams, F&D engineer in London, back again with a final episode of my Beginner's Guide to Diversity and Inclusion, and a quick thank you to Asima Habta who suggested the subject for this last one. So this is my attempt at answering the question, what is unconscious bias and what's the problem with it? Well, the first thing you need to know about unconscious bias is that everybody has it. We're all born with it. Unconscious bias is our natural self-survival tool designed to keep us out of danger. Back when we were hunter-gatherers out on the savannah, we had to make quick snap judgments about potential dangers and whether to stand and fight or run back to the safety of our cave. So naturally we developed an inbuilt negative fear of strangers and an inbuilt positive preference for people that looked or sounded like us, basically our tribe. Over time, as the human race migrated further from the equator, our bodies adapted to our environment, and that's why we now come in many different shapes and sizes and a rainbow of different shades. So while our unconscious bias, the ability to make snap decisions, might well have been the key to our survival back in the Stone Age, in modern day civilization it's much more likely that we're going to meet and work with and work around people that don't look or sound like us, and the instinct to prejudge a person based on their appearance or lifestyle is a bit, well, Stone Age. That's why we warn ourselves, you can't judge a book by its cover, ne verily forso. Look, I get it. It's a natural thing to want to hang out with people that we instantly connect with. It's much more fun, and it's much less effort than trying to understand someone who speaks differently and has different interests to ourselves. But the big danger with unconscious bias is first that we don't know that we're doing it. Well, it's unconscious. And second, that if it's allowed to spread, it becomes built into the system, and that's systemic bias. So what's the problem with unconscious bias in the workplace? At its least harmful, unconscious bias causes cliques to form within teams and people only wanting to work with certain other people, which harms the effectiveness of the whole team. At worst, unconscious bias manifests itself as plain, simple prejudice, and that can harm the career prospects of any individual considered to be outside the favoured circle. So when you finally decide to go for that better job, you might be surprised to find that no one on the interview board looks or sounds like you, and neither do the people to whom you are applying to work for. And that's when you realise that an unconscious bias isn't quite so harmless, that it's now built into the system, and you suddenly find that you're up against invisible barriers you never knew were there. I'm sorry if this is a little shocking, but as I said before, take a look around and see who makes the big decisions where you work. I know that in my line of work there have been very few candidates from a BAME background that have been promoted to a technical officer position level for years, and this is in a city where 37% of the population were born outside the UK. And I'm embarrassed to admit that I have never seen a single female technical officer doing my job in my 44-year career. And I don't know about you, but I don't think that's right. So, what's going wrong? Here's a few questions that I have. Is it that we're failing to accept that there's a problem with lack of diversity and inclusion? Can we see that the problem is caused by systemic unconscious bias, the worst kind? Have we worked out how we're going to beat it? Is there a problem with lack of diversity at interview boards? Is there a problem with lack of diversity and inclusion amongst supervisors and managers? Are we providing the right support networks for the underrepresented groups? How do we target the best candidates from all backgrounds? How do we create structured progression programs that do not favour one particular group over another? Do we need to change the way we advertise jobs? And finally, where do we find the right people to act as trainers, coaches, mentors and allies for the candidates? I apologise that all I seem to have are questions, but that's because I don't have the answers. Well, I do actually. I just framed them as questions, but I can't implement them. I don't have that power. The only power that I have is my voice.
Oh, happy day.
And it's not that loud.
Oh, happy day.
But if other voices join with me, and we all sing the same chorus, well, maybe, just maybe, brothers and sisters, who knows, we might make it to that happy day.